welcome back to CHGO White Sox. This is the post-game show after 11-5 beating of the Los Angeles Angels. Welcome in. This is Studio A of the CHGO West Loop offices. My name is Herb Lawrence. I am usually sitting in the middle seat because I am the community leader here on CHGO White Sox. Sean Anderson, the regular host, is sitting out today, and he'll be back with us tomorrow. You can follow me on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. That, to my left, is Vinnie Duber. He is the CHGO White Sox beat writer. Follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber, and the show at CHGO_White Sox. And before we get into all the good stuff that happened today, let me remind you guys, this month, or next month, there is a CHGO White Sox, CHGO Cubs takeover. July 26th, 7:10 game. Cubs, White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. Go to allchgo.com right now and sign up to be there with us. You get a White Sox shirt with purchase of the ticket, and if you are a diehard member, you get a discounted purchase of this ticket, and you get to sit up with us in the 529 section. And then in August, we return to the north side for the other game, August 16th, 7:05. Same thing, separate tickets, by the way. So buy your White Sox tickets now for the July 26th one, and then later buy your August 16th tickets for the game at Wrigley Field. Now that that is over, man, oh man, if this isn't the most complete victory of the White Sox season, I don't know what is. Vinny, today it just felt like the White Sox, everything was clicking, and they didn't do it over some bum. This Jaime Barria guy was killing before he started versus the White Sox with a 2.14 ERA coming into this game. He almost raised his ERA to over 3 today. How do you feel about the White Sox and what they did offensively?
Who are these White Sox? First time in more than a month that they've scored double-digit runs in a game. I believe Chris Kamka from NBC Sports Chicago tweeted it out. A string of 23 straight games decided by 4 runs or fewer for that the White Sox have played. Wow. Incredible. I mean, on one hand, you got to hand it to them that they are never too far out of a game, but on the other, it just goes to show you that they have not had any comfortable wins, really. To speak of this season, this is one of them, and just a really good performance. Listen, we were talking not too long ago, I think it was less than a week ago, about a 4-homer game that the White Sox had where they only scored 5 runs. This is the kind of 4-homer game that Pedro Grifol and the White Sox have been waiting for, one where they not only score 5 runs, but then 6 more to go along with it. There were, as one of our commenters said, there was runs that were manufactured. There were runs that were scored late, even after it really seemed like this one was over. You can't stop Zach Remillard from grinding it out. But really, the home runs were the big blows early in the game. You expect them from Luis Robert Jr. at this point. Eloy Jimenez continues what's been a very nice couple of games here in Orange County, just hitting the heck out of the ball, and he hit the ball out of the ballpark at one point, too. And then 2 from Sebi Zavala. This guy's got 13 home runs in his career. 7 of them have come in 3 games, 3 multi-homer games, and this was another one tonight, including the one that he, used sorcery to keep fair at one point. So, listen, when Rick Hahn built this offense, it was nights like this that he was expecting. They have been far too few for the White Sox as they have attempted to dig themselves out of that horrible April that they had. But this is by design right here.
Let's go back to that first inning. We got a leadoff walk from Andrew Benintendi. I don't even know how many times we've gotten that, but it's very refreshing to see. Had a great at-bat. Timmy gets out the next at-bat, and then some guy named Luis Robert Jr. comes up to the bat. And like I said, Jaime Barria's got a 2.14 ERA at that point. And 44 feet later, we're rounding the bases, a 2-0 lead. That is just so good to see. And I know Lucas had to love it. And eventually, subsequently, the next half inning, he gives it right back up to 2 of the great players of Ohtani and Trout with their back-to-back triples. And I'll put those in quotes, triples. But Luis Robert Jr. is just, the adjectives fail. I mean, we were talking last night about Ohtani and how great he is. We have a great player here in the White Sox system with Luis Robert Jr. It's good to see him putting it all together for his 23rd home run today.
Well, listen, I mean, people keep asking, is there a way that Luis Robert Jr. can get into the MVP race? And we keep going, no, because Ohtani exists. But if it weren't for this guy who's going to go down as one of the at least biggest game changers in baseball history, if not one of the great players by the time it's all said and done, if it wasn't for that one guy, Luis Robert Jr. would be in the MVP mix. And he not only showed it tonight with the bat, which is obviously what has been cooking for him of late, but how about the near robbery that he made late in the game? Would have been absolutely ridiculous had he done it. And really, I think maybe Gavin Sheets might have prevented it from happening, and I don't want to put that on Gavin because he made it a nice attempt at that ball as well. For give the guy some credit for getting over there and getting to the right spot. But had he been maybe a little slower, it would have been a potentially catch of the year candidate for Luis Robert Jr. At the end of the day, it tips off the end of his glove and it goes as a home run. But again, just another example of what we keep talking about this guy from a defensive standpoint, what he can do, the ground he can cover, the athleticism that he has. He can do it all. They called him a six-tool player coming up for a reason, and it seems like he's really starting to show it. You wouldn't think that anybody could scratch Ohtani or come close to Ohtani in the MVP race, but boy, if it wasn't for him doing something that no one has ever done before, Robert might be in that conversation here in late June.
Yeah, and on that attempt, it was like you see Luis way over the fence trying to catch the ball, and then you see Gavin making a valiant attempt, but his glove is barely over the fence. I'm like, those are two different players. They're both outfielders in the White Sox in MLB, but there's a difference. Luis Robert is a pure athlete, and Gavin Sheets is probably an athlete, but not Luis Robert. So it was awesome to see him give that attempt and almost, like you said, almost caught that. And I think, yeah, he didn't want to run into Gavin. So, hey, let that be a home run instead of being an injury for our man. And as we talked about, the first home run from Seby Zavala crushed, absolutely crushed. And Seby Zavala, and like you said, he's got, 13 home runs, 12 home runs?
13 in his career, yeah.
And 7 of those comes in 3 separate games. A 3-home run game for his first 3 home runs of his career. Earlier this year, a 2-home run game off of Clark Schmidt and the Yankees. And then today, where he hits the first home run, where it's crushed, and the second home run. We got a graphic to show you. This is from Codify. The track, if you're watching on YouTube, you could see the red line going down the fair line and then curving at the last second, almost either on top of the fair pole or around it.
But it's an S. But it makes an S.
Yeah, but it lands into fair territory, and that's a home run. It was the expected batting average of .030. The expected batting average on that ball. It doesn't matter because it was hitting that ballpark, and it's a home run. Seby Zavala just coming up big as a player that I've always ragged on for his offensive skills or lack thereof. He's coming up big today, and when he hits home runs, he's going to hit another one.
4 ribbies tonight for Seby too. You remember the late couple there in the 9th inning. Both those runs scored off of a Seby Zavala single.
Much needed too. I know it's only a 6-run game, but bases were pretty jammed up at the end of the game with Kendall Graveman.
Yeah,
give him a little break, give him a little breather.
Who knows how it would have played out had Seby not driven them in. But, yeah, listen, this is a guy who's obviously getting a ton of chances, not just because of what he's able to do from a game-calling standpoint and working with the pitchers. In that regard, his playing time is very well earned because he gets rave reviews from guys. And you see, Lucas Giolito, for example, has been the best pitcher on the team this year and has thrown to Seby Zavala in all but one game. But Yasmani Grandal's health also continues to be a topic of conversation, if not an out-and-out problem. But it's allowing for Seby to get more time behind the plate. When he can do some damage with the bat as well, it's probably looked at as gravy, as cherry on top of the sundae. And he did it tonight, and it was a big reason why the run total was as big as it was.
And then we go to Eloy Jimenez. At this point, he had a 6-at-bat streak where he hit the ball 100 miles per hour or harder. And then he hits the home run in the 3rd inning, just absolutely demolishes a home run, makes the score 4-2. Eloy Jimenez seems like he is catching fire with a 2-for-5 game, drove in one, scored run there. If Eloy Jimenez is becoming that guy again, the guy who showed up in the second half, I hate to be that optimist, that guy that's like, seeing this good game from the White Sox and then being Charlie Brown running down the fairway and hoping that Lucy's going to hold the goddamn football.
This is a lot of sports metaphors in a row here. We've got baseball, we've got golf, we've got football. What more do you got for me?
Exactly. Like, I feel like I don't want the football to be pulled out. Sorry, I'm spitting. Pulled out from me again. But I don't know. Like, this is the enticing thing about the White Sox. You get the team that you expect to see today with all the hits they had. 17 hits. The first time, as you said, they scored 10-plus runs in over a month. And so it's kind of encouraging to see all the players, except for one, Tim Anderson, who was struggling mightily, and I'll get to him in a second, just put it all together and get the job done. And I feel like I don't want to be that guy, but also I don't want to live my life in a bubble where I'm like scared of what's the next shoe to drop. So I'm going to be all in on Eloy. And if Eloy Jimenez is doing this and Luis Roberts doing this, those two alone can carry an offense.
Well, of course. And I think, you can look at it one way or the other. You can look at it glass half full, which is the way you just described there. Certainly the way that Rick Hahn and Pedro Grifol have presented it to us all season long, and really all of last season as well, which is, hey, look at these guys. Look at what they can do. This is what's supposed to be happening. A night like tonight was what was supposed to happen the vast majority of nights when this roster was constructed the way it was. There's also that glass half empty way to look at it, which is, where has this been? Why has this taken so long? Why is this such a rarity? They could very well go back out there tomorrow afternoon in Anaheim and do the same thing that they've been doing for the whole entirety of the month of June and barely, if they even do, score 4 runs. So it really is there are two ways to look at it, and if you want to be an optimist and say, hey, that team right there, that lineup right there, that outcome that just happened tonight, 11 runs, 4 homers, 17 hits, this lineup is capable of doing that on any given night. And it's true that it is. But at the same time, we've watched 3 months of baseball, and very rarely has that lineup produced like that, which would lead you to believe this might not be the start of something big, but it could just be a mirage or a glimpse into what could have been. We'll have to wait and see how the remainder of the season plays out to see which one it was.
Yeah, and I think in this team, Zach Remillard, I remember, what was it, the 8th inning? I'm just laughing my ass off, or the ninth inning.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing my ass off because Zach Remillard earlier in the game squared to bunt and didn't bunt, or he fouled that ball off. Then later in the game, in the 9th inning, with a runner on first, he bunts again, and it's successful and makes it over there.
Runner on second.
Runner
doubled,
second.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and so he makes it, and then he steals second, and then he scores the second run off of the single. But he had
was motoring, too, around second base.
Oh, man, our guy Steven would love it. He had a 3-for-5 game, drove in another run with a double earlier in the game. I know the people in this chat, people are watching, people are listening. The man's hitting almost 400. He gives a spark every once in a while. Is there a chance that Zach Remillard gets more regular time over either Tim or Elvis Andrus?
I don't believe over Tim, and I don't believe over Elvis either. But that being said, neither of those two guys are having a very good season at all. I think it would be easier for them to say, all right, Elvis, we signed you to a 1-year deal. You can still be that amazing clubhouse presence who puts the home run jacket on everybody, even if you aren't starting quite as much as the ideal situation was going to have you start. Tim Anderson, though, and I've said it numerous times here over the last week, I'll keep saying it, this guy is a guy that the White Sox built their team around. He is a guy who the White Sox still believe is one of the best and most important hitters on this team. He has the capability to do that. Everybody knows that. They saw him hit 300 however many years in a row, well over 300. And now he's going through something bad. But the White Sox don't believe that it's going to last, or they certainly hope that it isn't going to last throughout the remainder of the season. It's very easy to have the cold spreadsheet way of thinking and saying, look at this guy's production to this point, player X, get him out of here, what does it matter? It's different when you have to look at the entirety of everything. This isn't just math. This is potential. This is what this guy means to the team. The effect that Tim Anderson can have on this lineup, should he get going, is much greater than what Zach Remillard would have on it throughout the remainder of the season. That's just true. Tim Anderson is an all-star Major League Baseball player. Zach Remillard has been in the big leagues for, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So listen, nobody is disagreeing with the fact that Tim Anderson is not doing it right now. And it's very obvious looking at him every single night playing that he is not the guy that he has been in years past. But he is such an important piece of this puzzle for the White Sox that to strip him of playing time because of the slump that he's in, you don't see that happen around baseball or in pro sports. This is this team's number one or number two guy, and you're not going to just see them cast him aside because of a lack of production here over a few months stretch.
And as a process of results guy, Tim, yes, and David Risa points out 0 for 5 sticks out in the box score. Yes, 0 for 5, if you just look at that and say, man, Tim is sucking and he's struggling today. I saw a couple hard hit balls today, one that was 110 miles per hour, I think right at Hunter Renfroe in right field. But the thing that stuck out to me late in the game, and it's a minor thing, but it's a thing. Ball hit up the middle. It's 2 outs, and you have Kendall Graveman kind of struggling. Ball hit up the middle. It's kind of towards center field. Remillard backhands the ball. Tim's not covering second base for the force out that would have created the last out of the game. And so, I don't know where his head's at in the 9th inning. That is a routine thing that a second baseman / shortstop should always do. If his other partner in the middle infield is getting the ball, you should be going to second, especially if there's a force out right there. So I don't know where his head's at, but I saw some good things today. I saw some positive things. The ball hit by, I believe it was Luis Robert, a line drive down this line where Timmy runs and hustles into second base and breaks up the fielder's choice, and then they subsequently throw over to first and don't get Luis Robert. So he had some hustle plays. He had some good plays today where I can see the old Tim in there, but there's way too much of the struggling Tim, and I'm sure this struggle is weighing on top of him also. Like, it's not just struggling, it's extra struggling. Like, he hasn't got a hit since he's been in the 2 spot, but he's hit the ball hard today.
Well, and this was Pedro speaking about the entire team, speaking generally, but when this offense wasn't doing anything in June, and really outside of today, it still hasn't done much of anything in June, but the idea was guys are just, they're trying to do too much. You're trying to go up there, and it's the mental part of it that you're going up and trying to hit a 5-run homer when you can't do it, or a 10-run homer when you can't do it. That is on top of, if that is what Tim is dealing with, if he's pressing, if he's saying, all right, I'm 0 for my last 20 whatever, I got to hit an 8-base hit right now to get out of it, to snap out of it, that's on top of him probably not being physically where he's used to being, right? Whether that is still lingering from the knee injury from earlier in the season or the shoulder injury that he just dealt with that knocked him out for a few games in a row. He's been affected physically, and he's not the way that he feels when he's going right. Throw the mental in with the physical, it probably makes it pretty hard to get up there and do what you're expected to be doing. Tim might be in the way of saying, hey, the stuff that I worked on in the offseason, for example, it was talk about driving the ball, talk about having a little bit more power. If his legs aren't under him right now all the way, that's hard to do. So he's got to go and redo everything that he did this offseason to try and have a new approach now on top of that. It's that changing it up midway through to do what you're capable of doing. Go back to last year with what Jose Abreu went through. The guy who usually hits 30 home runs for this White Sox team was unable to do that from a power standpoint. And all of a sudden, he's walking more than he ever walked in his career. So the greats can do that. They can make those adjustments on the fly. Other guys and even great ones take some time.
And before his last RBI, which made Sebi Zavala the player of the game, I thought this player and Andrew Vaughn was the player of the game. He went 3 for 4, drove in 3, couple doubles. He looks great at the plate, and we got 3, 4, 5, all crushing the ball today, all seeing the ball perfectly. Andrew Vaughn was supposed to be a big part of this offense. He does have the most RBIs still on the team, I believe. Let's see now, he is at, 49 RBIs for him, 45 for Luis Robert. So he is having a decent year RBI-wise, but I think his average and his slugging and such is down from where he and everybody would want him to be. But this could be a catapult. As they say, the White Sox have been cold hitting and contagious. Good hitting can be contagious too, and so Andrew Vaughn getting into a nice streak right here, especially going into Oakland after tomorrow's game, could be good for the White Sox too.
Well, 2 extra base hits for him tonight. Those slugging numbers are going to go up. The home runs have been coming a lot more frequently for him over the last, week and a half, maybe something like that. And here's a guy who I believe is already up to a dozen home runs on the season. He's going to have well more than he did last year when he led the team with 17. So as they just passed the halfway point, I believe yesterday was the 81st game of the season. So this was number 82 tonight. But
second half, let's go.
There you go. First game of the what would you call it? The official second half?
Yes.
Or, yeah, as opposed to the traditional second half.
I like to, when people do the All-Star game as the half, I like to just, okay, cool. When we got $100, I'll take 60, you take 40. Cool? That's how halves work now. But yes, I think that Andrew Vaughn is key to this team's success. As you said, Tim is probably the key to the team's success. Just imagine if he wasn't just before he got hurt. I believe somebody tweeted this out. He was hitting almost 300 before he got hurt the first
nice
time.
Start, yeah.
And so whatever's been ailing him has really drained his power. And you said the mental or the physical have all struggled. So 11-5 win by the White Sox is a good start. I hope everybody feels good about that, especially Tim. Even though he didn't get any hits, he was the only player on the starting lineup that didn't get any, but he did contribute to a victory.
Well, and here's the thing, too. There's a new leader in the American League Central tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The Cleveland Guardians hopped over the Minnesota Twins. They are in first place. The White Sox are 5.5 games out of first place. And you're talking about a lineup that is slowly getting guys to get going here, right? Luis Robert Jr. is obviously on fire. Eloy Jimenez is doing well of late. Andrew Vaughn doing better of late. You're saying, oh, man, just wait till if TA could get there, what it would look like. And the thing is, they haven't run out of time to do it. They probably should have. I mean, they're 12 games under 500 right now. They probably should have run out of time a long time ago. But everybody else in the AL Central has decided to keep them around and keep them hanging around, with the exception of the Kansas City Royals. So, hanging around. So it is very possible that should this offense wake up at some point here in the next month or so, that run that the White Sox have been looking for is still in them.
After the break, we will talk about the nickname that the great Vinnie Duber gave Lucas Giolito. LGLG stepped up to the plate and got the job done today versus the Angels. But Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. One-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. No matter where you are on your cannabis journey, each online order, in-store pickup, great transportation loyalty program, Sunnyside Rewards. Illinois' favorite dispensary from cities to suburbs, Wrigleyville to River North, Champaign to South Beloit. Which Chicago athlete has made you feel good this week? My guy is Andrew Vaughn. He has made me feel really good because I think he's coming along. Sunnyside has a house of great brands. Mindy's, the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs. Good News, which has the Frye, which I love, gummies, rechargeable vape pen, and cart perfect for great moments with the crew, or Cresco. Reliable, excellent cannabis, consistent quality, experience and availability of flower, vapes, concentrates, and pre-rolls. Through August, head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off of your total order. One use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois MedCard holder. Now let's tell you about Lewis University. Great folks down there in Romeoville. Saw that Max Strus might be signing a deal with the Indiana Pacers, coming closer to home. He's a Lewis University guy. Students are just like you. Full-time jobs, families, full-time sports fandoms. Go back to school and earn your respected degree at Lewis University. 35 miles southwest of Chicago in Romeoville, ranked as U.S. News and World Report's top-tier colleges. Lewis partners with numerous employers for tuition discounts and offers evening, online, blended formats to help you balance work, family, and education. Faculty bring real-world life experience instruction into the classroom, which is immediately relevant to your career. We offer career support and academic resources for adult students. Looking to complete your bachelor or master's degree, enroll in professional certificate program? Lewis has the right program for you. Lewis offers several career-focused programs that will set you up for success. Whether you're going to the Lewis program of computer science, aviation maintenance technology certificate, business analytics, criminal justice, business programs, or technical programs, Lewis has you covered. Discover how a degree from Lewis can help you build a better world. Learn more at lewisu.edu/you can do this. That's Lewis, the letter U.edu/you, spelled out YOU, can do this. All right.
Very good, making sure people understand how it's spelled.
Yes, because people would spell full U for both of those, or just the W, or just the U letter, if not.
Or maybe U-E-W-E, like a female sheep.
What do you think about that? Let's get to Lucas Giolito. I don't know why I'm so giggly today. That Zach Rimlard thing.
It was a good joke. That's why.
Just killed me. Just killed me, and then I've got the giggles ever since then. Lucas Giolito.
You liked the bunt?
Huh?
You liked the bunt?
Oh, my God. I was like thinking in my head, he's not going to bunt. They're up 5. Come on, what is he doing?
It was a 4-run game. Four-run game, right?
4-run game, yeah. He bunted. I was fine with it.
Drops down the bunt for the base hit. Then just takes off for second because he knows they're not going to throw because there's a guy on third base.
I wonder if he got a stolen base for that.
He did. He absolutely did.
Sometimes they did just say, "Hey, that's a." Yeah, he did. Second stolen base of his career. That's awesome.
Because again,
they was holding him on. Yeah,
they knew that they weren't going to throw, so take the base, and then man, just tearing around third base on that single to the outfield. I think he dove into home on a slide.
He did. He's a hustle guy.
Do not tell Zach Remillard that a game is over in the 9th inning.
The jersey's always dirty. That guy, if he ever gets playing time, he's going to be one of those legends. White Sox fans are going to be clamoring for him all the time because what he's done in his brief MLB career, I'm telling you, it's been nice. It's been really good. And the movie they're going to make, which Sean laughed at me, they're going to make a movie about a 30-year-old rookie, Sean. They're definitely going to make a movie, especially that did the first time ever to have the game-tying hit in a game and then the game-winning hit in his MLB debut. So I think
is that the movie though? Is there more to
that's the movie? No, there's not.
The movie is just that he has a good good hit.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we won the College World Series with a underdog Coastal Carolina, big time championship.
The Chanticleers.
Exactly, out there in South Carolina.
I'll go another tangent here because when I was younger, we went to Myrtle Beach for a family vacation, as I'm sure everyone in America does at one point. Mm-hmm. And we're in the lids at a local lids shop. And I see the logo on the hat for Coastal Carolina. I'm like, that's a cool logo. That'd be a nice hat to have. I go to buy it. The two guys working behind the counter were on the football team, on the Coastal Carolina football team. And they said, and they go, because I had heard that they were the Chanticleers kind of thing. And they go, oh, do you know what our team name is? I say, yeah, the Chanticleers. And he goes, that's not what we call ourselves. We call ourselves the ass-kicking chickens.
That's what a Chanticleer is, the chicken?
It's a kind of a rooster. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah.
Look at you. You guys thought you were coming here for White Sox talk. You get education. Now you know what a Chanticleer is.
It's been numerous facts about farm animals in the last several minutes here. So there you go.
I've been there because my fiance's father and mother-in-law live down there in Myrtle Beach, and I guess that's in Conway, which is not too far away. Been to the ballpark in Myrtle Beach. The Pelicans saw now the Cubs single A affiliate too. So good times down there. You should go down to Myrtle Beach and see Zach Rimlard's hometown or his college town. Get to Lucas Giolito. Great start. Bookends of the first and the 7th inning, not his best, as he gave up back-to-back triples to Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and then gave up, I think, back-to-back home runs.
2 and 3 batters.
Yeah, so it was Renfroe and I think Ward that gave up home runs to. But I think he came just short of a quality start. I think Lucas Giolito stepped up to the challenge that was presented to him. The White Sox lost yesterday in bad fashion. Shohei Ohtani did Shohei Ohtani things, and so the bad taste in the mouth was in the mouth last night. Lucas Giolito became the closer or the stopper to stop this losing streak, and it was good to see him just out there battling. As a final line, 7 innings pitched. He gave up 4 earned runs, 9 strikeouts with 0 walks. Your assessment of how Lucas Giolito did tonight?
The last 2 words you said there, 0 walks. I mean, 9 Ks, 0 walks. That goes to show you that despite the 4 runs on the board, he was pretty dominant all night long. Obviously, you're going to give up a run or two when you give up back-to-back triples to 2 of the best players in baseball, but some help on those hits from the White Sox corner outfielders, so maybe not necessarily 100% on Lucas, but certainly the home runs were late in the game in the 7th inning there. So, but really, I throw the whole idea that it's not a quote-unquote quality start out the window. He was given a ton of run support, which is abnormal for these White Sox starting pitchers, and he went out there and he dealt. He didn't put anybody on base. He didn't get himself in trouble by walking guys like we saw with Michael Kopech last night. It was a very good performance, I think, and you can quibble with the fact that it was a great one if you don't like the fact that there's a 4 in the stat line under runs at the end of the day. But for a starting pitcher to go out there, go 7 innings, and not put anyone on base from a free pass, didn't give up that many hits. He did a very good job of preventing the Angels from coming back, which they could have done. We saw in the 9th inning them load the bases against Kendall Graveman. We saw the ability for them to dig into that run total pretty easily. Lucas Giolito didn't let them do it, and he pitched a very good game tonight. And really, we've gotten back to the point now where that's what we should expect every time Lucas Giolito goes out. He was that guy in 2019. He was that guy in 2020, and he had a very nice second half in 2021 where he had some of these large games against really good teams. I remember outings against the Astros, against the Rays, against the Brewers that were really good. Those were good teams that year, and now here you go. He's going out there and doing that again, but it doesn't matter who he's facing this time. He's doing it every time out. This is the closest he's looked to the 1920 version of himself since that playoff game in Oakland, and it is a really good thing for the White Sox because he's leading this staff, a staff that's been consistently pretty good. It's a very good thing for him if he's looking to get a nice contract this winter.
And his called strikes plus whiff percentage today on his four-seam fastball was 33%, 33% for his slider, but 42% on his nasty changeup today. It was just filthy, working it so perfectly. And, yeah, you can bump that up, Sarah, his third-inning performance against Shohei Ohtani. You guys heard of Shohei Ohtani before. We've brought him up every once in a while. As my guy Chris Tannehill likes to say, he made sweet love to Shohei Ohtani in the 3rd inning and then in the 6th inning. But, he challenged Shohei Ohtani after giving up the triple to him in the 1st inning. It's good to see him bounce back and say, you know what, Shohei, I know who you are. I feel you, brother. But you're going to take this L twice. I'm going to strike you out twice, and you're going to look real dumb. And that 3rd inning strikeout, Lucas made him look like a little leaguer with a filthy changeup and a slider at his knees. And it's just good to see him, say, you got me. Cool, you got me in the 1st inning, but I'm not backing down from you. You saw last night where there was a 5-pitch walk by Michael Kopech to Shohei Ohtani, and it was just non-competitive. I was like, why don't you just do 4? Why don't you just walk him if you're going to walk him? No such thing for Lucas Giolito. That's the confidence that Michael Kopech needs to borrow from and say, hey, if you hit me one time, I'll tip the cap. But the next time we're battling, I'm going to win the game. And Lucas Giolito shows that grit, that toughness. This is why I want Lucas Giolito to be re-signed by the White Sox. And trading him does not preclude him from being re-signed by the White Sox because he'll be open and available to all 30 teams once this season ends. So if the White Sox can find a way and look at Lucas Giolito and say, besides the 2022 stats, this man's been pretty rock solid for us, and where he's a worst pitcher in baseball in 2018, the attitude, the leadership, and how he commands himself on the mound, I think that goes a long way with all the teammates, not just the pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly a guy who you can look to and say that's the way you should conduct yourself, and he's a guy who's having success right now, which, if you're talking about what do guys who aren't pitchers think about that right now, not a lot of them have had very much success this year. So if you are looking for that contagious thing, that's something to rally around, something to build off of, Lucas Giolito has provided it, and really the entire pitching staff in general has too, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It would certainly seem that, given that his contract is expiring, he would be a candidate to be one of the guys that would be moved if the White Sox decide that This is not the year that they're going to be able to make a run in the postseason, but maybe there are some extenuating circumstances, a guy that you would like to have around. Maybe you don't do what I just said, what I talked about earlier, the whole cold spreadsheet way of looking at things, and maybe you say, this is a guy who has spoken out about how loyal he is to our organization. Mm-hmm. Maybe we show some loyalty to him too. So there are those other things that you got to think about. Not very often do they come into play in this business of baseball, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens, because I keep going back to what Rick Hahn said, and so far we have not seen a White Sox team that looks able to make a deep run in October, even if they do look able to win the American League Central.
I hear you on that. And knowing Lucas like you do, I don't know how personal your relationship is, but how do you think he will react to the press after this game, giving up 4 earned runs? Do you think he's like, hey, man, a win is a win? Or he'd be like, hey, I got to perform better? Because I know that one time where he gave up only like 3 runs, he's like, I shouldn't give up 3 runs. And they still lost because the offense didn't help him out. Does he like say, hey, offense, thank you for helping me out today. I had it, but also I lost in the 7th. Thank you for hooking me up. Or does he like, man, I got to be better than this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the outcome of the game dictates the way these guys feel after the game, okay, and their immediate reflection on what they did. A few days down the road, maybe a game in where he only gives up the 3 runs and the defense cost him a couple of them, but they lose. Yeah. Maybe he looks back and said, well, wow, I was actually pretty good that game. Let's try to replicate that the next time out. Whereas tonight, he might have talked to the press and gone, man, great job by the offense. They hit the ball. They gave me a ton of runs. And you know what? Couple bad pitches that were hit out of the ballpark, but I felt like I did pretty good. I'm glad I didn't walk anybody. But then a couple days down the road, he goes, all right, what are we going to do to make sure that those balls don't go out of the ballpark next time? So I think if you're talking about in the moment, pitchers are always going to react to the final score rather than they are necessarily how they fared in terms of their mood, right? You might get out there and you go, well, what was it? Wasn't that game that Lance Lynn had a no-hitter into the 6th, gave up 4 runs, and they lost? It might have been a situation where he was like, I'm furious because we lost the game. But, hey, Lance, remember when you threw 6 no-hit innings? That was pretty good, but he's not going to worry about that for a while. So, in the immediate, it's definitely about the final score. Tomorrow, 2 days, 3 days from now, when they're doing their in-between start tweaks, their work with Ethan Katz, there's going to be a lot of, hey, that was good, this part wasn't so good, let's pick it apart and look at it with a little bit more of a neutral attitude.
And after the break, we will talk about tomorrow's matchup, which you just named the guy who's going to be pitching for the White Sox, Lance Lynn, and we'll look at the Angels starter in a second. But we'll hear from our folks at Shady Rays. Let's get this thing out of my face. Let's see. Off the screen. It's not going off the screen. No.
Uh-oh.
I hate this when this happens.
What is happening?
The screen, there was something popped up on my laptop, and I couldn't read the Shady Rays read. Now I have it off.
Oh, thank goodness.
Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades for an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers world-class product that's just as good as the inexpensive pair that we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection insane protection of all eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by the lost and broken replacements. I was telling Sean this. You lose your replacements, they'll give you a free replacement. No questions asked. I was like, Sean, just call him up. And
because he left him in Iowa.
He did leave him. I thought he left him in Iowa. Then he was here cleaning his glasses off and then dropped them. They stayed solid. I was like, man, even if they would have broke Sean, call him up. No questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. Together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the United States through Shady Rays Impact. From building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in the community that they serve. Others like it now and for years to come. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange it for a new pair, return them free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Shady Rays' independent sale is on right now. Go to shadyrays.com and get up to 50% off a single pair of sunglasses. Try it for yourself for free. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Now the next read is our friends at Pins and Aces. Is the official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and CHGO. Do you wear Pins and Aces, Sarah, like our guy Steven, who is now in Nashville, does?
I actually don't play golf at all, so I don't.
You are gonna wear them in August when we have our golf outing, aren't you?
Well, I'll tell you what I love is it's right behind you. It's what are they called? The club covers? I don't know. Yeah, I love those, and they have one in it's the Joker's face that I thought was so cool, and when they brought it in, and then that one too. I think it's really cool. I just don't play golf.
Yeah, we love our Pins and Aces. I mean, some of us don't play golf at all. I don't think Vinnie plays golf either.
I will though.
I don't.
In a couple months.
But here's the thing: Pins and Aces, it's not like they check you at the golf course when Pins and Aces sends you your stuff. It doesn't say must wear while playing golf.
No,
you can wear that out and about.
I mean, I got a polo from them. It's actually the best polo I earned.
And you don't play polo?
No,
so there you go.
I have not played polo. Neither.
You don't climb up on a horse?
Either Marco Polo or just regular polo.
Climb up on a horse, swing that mallet?
That game never made sense to me. It's weird. It's just like croquet on a horse.
Well, no, it's more like field hockey on a horse, I think.
It's just unnecessary.
Croquet is like stationary.
Yeah, but
it's like golf with the putting.
The mallet and the ball, and you keep on going.
Yeah, but the horse is cooking.
And you can fall off that horse.
You could. Be careful.
We love our Pins and Aces gear and get tons of compliments on and off the course, as Vinny said.
On and off the polo field.
Yeah. They're a family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and even our favorite, the beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag and keep the drinks cold the entire round. There you go, Sarah. 7 beers. You can keep them in cold.
Well, that I would 100% be using for
beer sleeve.
More than just golf.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You could bring it to many events. 4th of July's coming up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You just walk down the street.
Easy peasy.
Sling it over your shoulder.
You want your beer to be cold? Get that beer sleeve. Check out pinsandaces.com and use code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com and spell out and PINSANDACES.com. Now, let's go to tomorrow's.
I don't think you can have an ampersand in a URL.
No?
I think that screws everything up.
I'm an old man. That's why I spelled it all out.
No, it's useful, definitely.
www.
You forgot the HTTP.
HTTP, yes, is... Yeah.
HTTP:///.
Yes. The White Sox tomorrow will be facing Patrick Sandoval. He'll be on the bump for the Angels, while the White Sox counter with Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn is just, having a tough season, but he has been pitching much better as of late. Anything you're expecting from the big bastard going on the bump in Anaheim in the afternoon?
I mean, listen, this is it's going to be on the hunt for. Is this the turnaround? Was 2 starts ago that 16 strikeout game in Seattle? Was that the beginning of the turnaround for Lance Lynn? Because we saw a turnaround happen last year when he missed the first 2 months. He comes back, and the first 2 months he's back were not what you would expect from Lance Lynn. And then the last 2 months of the season were what you would expect from Lance Lynn. He was just as good, if not better, than Dylan Cease in September, I believe. So a guy that has done that before, who has figured things out and straightened out before, is this what's going to happen this year? Is he going to have a bad 2.5 months, and then it's just going to line up? It's going to click for him. This is a veteran. It's always a possibility that they can go, you know what? I've done this before. I've been a dominant pitcher in this league before. If the body allows, do it again. And it's certainly the last couple of times out, he's been good. The offense needs to help him out, because he could go out there, strike out 12 guys, give up 3 runs, and they only score 1, and it's a loss. So we'll see what happens with Lance, if this is going to be the beginning of some consistency, or is that inconsistent track that he's been on really all year long going to continue?
This is the thing with the White Sox, too, where you expect them to lose. Today, I expect them 100% to lose. Jaime Maria, like I said, had a 2.14 ERA, was been pitching all well the whole year. Slider's been filthy. Reed Detmers, a 4 ERA, the guy who pitched the first game versus the White Sox. You were thinking, okay, the White Sox are going to get off on them because they usually hit lefties pretty decently. and he's got a 4 ERA. He hasn't been pitching well as of late, but of course the White Sox don't get the job done, and Shohei Ohtani's a different thing, so we don't need to discuss him. But Patrick Sandoval has been struggling in the month of June with a 6.20 ERA. His last start, not that bad, but he did give up 10 hits and 3 earned runs. He only struck out 3 and walked 1. So there's an opportunity for the White Sox to attack this guy. He's a lefty, of course, and young lefty. He's got on the season a 4.16 ERA. I think that's exactly what Reed Detmers had coming into the game on Monday night. So it's an afternoon game. If the conditions are as they were today, where the ball was just jumping off of people's bats, look out. The White Sox could score a bunch of runs tomorrow and salvage a split in the series versus these Anaheim Angels, because after those first 2 games, it looked really bleak. And you earlier said that we had a new leader in the AL Central, and now it's the Cleveland Guardians. White Sox only 5.5 games out. They win tomorrow. Guardians lose. You go to Oakland for 3 games. Maybe you're in the house, because the Oakland A's just got perfect game by Domingo Germán.
Yeah, my favorite stat of the night, and I've said a bunch of White Sox-related stats from earlier. My favorite stat of the night was that this was the first perfect game thrown against the currently Oakland Athletics, that franchise, since 1904, when no other than Cy Young himself threw that perfect game. Yeah, I don't think you can top that in terms of a stat, but yeah, you're not wrong. If the White Sox win tomorrow, they got 3 very winnable games ahead of them this weekend, because as bad as the White Sox have been this year, nobody's been quite as bad as the Oakland A's. They could very well go into the Coliseum and sweep, though that's something that the White Sox have. It's a place that the White Sox have not been able to do much winning over the years, is it? But yeah, you're right. And hey, looking at a situation where they're back within 3 games by the end of the weekend, we could be having a very interesting conversation come Sunday. But obviously, it all starts with tomorrow.
Yeah. So join us tomorrow. Sean Anderson will be back in his regular seat over there. I'll be sitting here, and then Vinnie will be over there again. We'll join you after the game, probably like 5:30, maybe 6, if the White Sox score a bunch of runs like they did today. So for Sarah Fichter, who's been our producer today, Vinnie Duber, at Vinnie Duber on the Twitter machines, myself, I'm Ecknerwall23. My name is Herb Lawrence. You've been watching, so you know what my name is already. And the show is at CHGO_White Sox. Very victorious, very great win. It was the biggest news of the night. Not that no-hitter, not that perfect game, not the Connor Bedard stuff. The White Sox first win versus the Anaheim/Los Angeles Angels in Anaheim. This was the biggest news of the night. So join us tomorrow. Yes, and I agree, Melissa. That guy, Domingo Germán, is a domestic abuser. He has domestic abuse in his past, so we're not going
to bring this up once I put the goofy hat on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're not going to celebrate that too tough, and it's versus the A's, so it doesn't count. Not watch the White Sox doing on Saturday or Sunday. This man right here that's talking to you is going wild. But join us tomorrow when we finally get the sweep versus the Anaheim Angels, and our guy Lance Lynn goes to the bump and does the job. So for Sarah, for Vinny, my name is Herb Lawrence. Thank you for joining us on Chicago CHGO White Sox. Peace.